Hello world. Hello, hello. I have not made videos in a while, but I feel inspired to share again. Yeah, I'm here in Peru, living in the Sacred Valley, where I have also spent a large part of the past few years, and I felt inspired today to speak about the importance of integration with psychedelic healing with on the path of psychedelic healing. Yeah, whether you're working with plant medicines or any other type of psychedelic consciousness expanding tools, medicines, the importance of integration in this process. It's something that I have become very passionate about, and not to toot my horn, but like rather skilled with, I suppose, in the past few years, largely due to learning the hard way through not integrating very well. And yeah, I just wanted to kind of speak to the importance of integration in general, not just through psychedelic healing, but through any sort of transformational experience that we're going through. I'm just going to be kind of speaking off the cuff. I haven't made videos in a while, and I just want to start to share and not to be held back by this thought that it needs to be perfect. It needs to have bullet points. It needs to have a screen on the front with the words. I don't even know how to do that. I don't. But I just want to share because, yeah, it feels like a fun time. And I also have this cool background, so why not? No, the house I'm in, it feels like quite cool for, it's nice little backgrounds for videos. It's not the only reason. Um, Anyhow, yeah, I want to share a little bit about, maybe I can just share about my journey and my experiences with plant medicines. I first came to Peru in 2019, at the very end of 2019. Just so hard to believe that's almost 4 years ago. I mean, I guess end of 2019. Now it's the beginning of 23, so it's like 3 years. And that was my sort of my first endeavor with plant medicines here in Peru. I had worked with psilocybin a small amount in 2018. And this interesting story, actually, plant medicines and psychedelics actually found me by accident. I never really thought that I would work with these. I never had tried it before. I had never really wanted to go into any experience that I always had this fear about losing control, this fear about what's going to happen in my consciousness. I just never thought that's something that I would really dive into. But one night in Boulder, Colorado, I was living there with some housemates, and I ate a chocolate out of the freezer that I didn't know was mushrooms. And that was my first experience with mushrooms ever. And it was like, I don't know, it was a gram and a half or something that I ate half this chocolate. And it was like the perfect, like, because I could have overdone it, but it was actually the perfect dose. And I still believe that the mushroom spirits decided that this was the night I was going to have this experience and it was going to be what it was. And it was deeply transformational, deeply healing, very, very awakening for my consciousness. And it really, I feel like that night really opened up this new path, where I started to understand how these plants can merge with us to open and expand our consciousness in new ways. They show us things, they show us pieces of ourselves and create the pathways for new types of growth and learning, right? The neuroplasticity, the ability to form new connections in our brain, to break old patterns, to move forward in new ways, and to understand pieces of ourselves and our life, and our trauma that we might not normally be able to access through traditional therapy, through psychotherapy. There's obviously so many tools that we can use to work on ourselves and to heal. And for me, I had really worked a lot with somatics, with EFT, emotional freedom technique, yoga, meditation. I wish I could say meditation was a bigger part of my life, but especially at that time it wasn't. But yoga has always been a part of my life. So these types of things I had been working a lot with. But yeah, so when I embarked on the plant medicine path, it was quite slow. Like I had these experiences in 2018, and then it wasn't until end of 2019 I went to Peru. I didn't actually come to Peru for plant medicine. I didn't come here for ayahuasca. I came here actually for a tantra training, but not really for that. I came here because I had this calling in my heart for about a year or a year and a half at that time, and I just knew that I had to be here. I kept seeing visions of these mountains in my dreams, and I put it on my vision board, and I couldn't stop thinking about Peru and feeling this calling to be here, and I didn't know what I was supposed to do here. But I ended up coming. It's kind of another long story. And yeah, I feel like I'm on a little bit of a tangent right now, but the I think my videos are gonna get better with time. I just have to practice. Um, yeah, I started to work with Wachuma, also known as San Pedro, and I came back again later in 2020. So 2020 through 21 and 22 was more when I moved to Peru, started to work deeper with Wachuma, had my first meeting with Mother Ayahuasca in 2021, and have worked with both medicines since then. And yeah, so coming back to the topic of this video, the importance of integration. I, you know, at the time that I began working with plant medicines, I sort of, in a way, and this is really vulnerable to share, I guess, because I don't want to, I don't know, but I just want to really be honest. I think for myself in my earlier days with this work and with others that I see, it can be easy to believe that the medicine itself is healing us, that this is, right, like more medicine is the way, or it's the path we're going to find out through the medicine. But actually, that's not how it works. Plant medicine, psychedelics open a door. They open a window for you to see certain things or to embody, feel certain things, or they open things that haven't been felt in a long time. They can crack you. But the actual work is done in your day-to-day life. And this is the point of this video, right? The actual work that where you're going to shift and change in your life is going to happen outside of the medicine. It's going to happen outside of the ceremony, outside of the session. It's going to be through the difficult moments and the mundane moments, right? It's through your daily practices, through coming back to your body, your breath, through contemplative practices like meditation, through journaling and self-reflection, even creative expression, through art, through dance, through anything that really helps you. And it's different for everyone. This is the other thing, like integration. There's no one cure, there's no one tool or practice or toolkit for everyone. It depends your relationship with the medicine, what you're working through, how you're embodying the medicine you're working with. And again, this is true for ayahuasca, for psilocybin, for Wachuma. I actually currently work with people through ketamine treatments for depression and anxiety. So all of these require integration. They all open up different spaces for you, and they all help to rewire your brain in different ways, but you're going to anchor those shifts in your day-to-day life. So for me, I mean, a big piece of integration was like taking space from medicine work for 8 months or something like this, and really embodying and going through the process that needed to be gone through, right? It brought up a lot of things for me, the medicine work over that period of time. And it wasn't like constant medicine work, but I hadn't taken that space of like months and months away. And when I did, a lot of things came up, a lot of heaviness, a lot of darkness, a lot of the things that I had opened really started to come through. And and they wanted to be worked with in a space away from the medicine. I mean, it's medicine for a reason. Like, we don't go to a hospital with the idea to live in the hospital, right? This is obviously different if you're training to work with ayahuasca or something like this, and you want to go live in the jungle and you're going to train. I mean, this is a years long path. So for those people, that makes sense. But for others, it's really important to understand how to kind of have a plan, a preparation and an integration plan, how you're going to work with these shifts and the pieces of you that come through in ceremony. And again, it's always going to be different, but don't expect that you're going to take a psychedelic and it's going to change your life. You're going to come out and everything's going to be different. Like, you might come out and feel a little bit disappointed because all you have left is the memory of this massively awakening experience. You might, like, during the experience, you might feel like, oh, my life is going to be different 100%. But actually, it will if you give it space to unfold. So that's the second thing. Like, really the first thing is giving yourself space after ceremony, not just jumping back into your day-to-day life, busy, but giving yourself space, and literally space. Like, take a day to do nothing and just be. Maybe have your journal, have some tea, if you have the opportunity to do this, right, do it on a weekend, or if you're in a retreat. This is why oftentimes medicine retreats are set up the way that they are, where you have a ceremony and a day off, right? And then maybe there's another day off and then you have ceremony, but there's yoga, there's integrative practices in between. But yeah, the other piece is like even after you leave the retreat, and this goes for other transformational experiences without medicine work, without psychedelics or plant medicine, going on. I remember when I went on a silent retreat, my very first silent retreat in Thailand in 2018, it was massively transformational. I felt like a different person after. Um, and on the last day, one of the biggest things they talked about was integration, because they said, they told us, they were like, yeah, you feel amazing right now. It feels like you have just gathered all of this energy and it's in you and it's like you're ready to go. I mean, being in silence is powerful, I will tell you. And the meditations and the everything else that we did, working with energy, working with like esoteric, mystical tantra stuff. But yeah, it's like, then they told us when you leave, it's going to be very easy to go back down. It's like this, what do they call it? Like the monkey path or something, or there's different animals with this. And then you want it to be more like this, like a slowly going up. I think that's the eagle path, where it's, you're not just having a high from the retreat and you go back to life. And then you have another retreat and you go back to life. And then you have a medicine experience and you go back to normal life, right? But we want to build these stair steps up and up and up. And a lot of that, like the stair step might be the transformational experience, but then the step part and where you go up a little more, that's like your day-to-day meditation practice. That's, committing to your self-reflection, committing to having boundaries in your life where you haven't had boundaries before, but you need to have boundaries because that's something that you learned during this experience. And if you don't listen to what you learned and implement it, you haven't learned anything. You haven't learned anything, right? So yeah, this is it. If you haven't found a way to put these things into your life, into your relationships, into your personal life, into your relationship with yourself, into the way that you interact with people in the world, into the amount of love that you have for yourself and for others, then you haven't done anything. If all you're doing is more retreats, more medicine work, that can honestly go completely awry. Too many people get way too much in their ego because they think that medicine work is the way, and then they actually are not becoming better people. They're just becoming more in their ego. Yeah, I'm sure I'm not the only person that has seen that out there. And it's not a judgment. I'm just saying what I see. So that is that. Yeah, anyway, thank you for being here with me on my first video in a long time. I think I will make more. This is fun. It's nice to talk and just share, and I have no idea what will keep coming out of me. But yeah, and this is a topic like I'm really passionate about, and it's so many layers to it. So I'm sure there will be more videos speaking about integration practices and process and working with plant medicines and things like this. So yeah, stay tuned, and wishing you a beautiful, beautiful day from Sacred Valley of Peru. Mwah!